Good afternoon, everyone. It's October the 1st, 2024. I see people have been enjoying the video that I was recently put up with Julie in it, and I wanted to put a little bit more on what went on behind that video as well. As you can see, Julie was still very frustrated. She's struggling. She's got her place. She's had it for a few months now, almost a year. And it's a struggle for people who haven't had anything, are trying to put their lives back together. And of course, I'm trying to explain to her too. It's taken me a long time after, well, with my second husband, it was almost 30 years in marriage, but it was pretty close to 34, a little over 34 years that we've been together. So it was a very, very big change. So I can understand her being 20 years on the street, just how difficult it would be. So I can definitely identify with some of Julie's problems here as well. And of course, the frustration that she's getting from a neighbor of hers. And this is one of the problems that we do have today, and that's because there's no affordable housing or supportive housing available, and we're in short supply with the housing which we're trying to build up, which is looks like it's going to be a few years before we can even get that done properly. But these people who come in, they don't even know what gratitude is or being grateful for something. And this is what I was trying to explain to Julie there, that after being tossed out of my home 15 years ago, it's taken me 15 years to kind of straighten things out. And I didn't have everything that I needed, and couldn't afford it. And so, as I said, I've got a lot of secondhand furniture, some of it coming from garage sales, which I've luckily got some really good deals on. And I bought a little bit of furniture, but it's all the cheap, you put together furniture, which thankfully I know how to use a screwdriver and a hammer. And I'll mention a little funny thing about the screwdriver and the hammer. When Julie was popping over a lot more in the earlier videos, she saw something had fallen apart, and I was using a screwdriver and hammer. And I looked at her and I said, "Well, what's wrong, Julie?" And she says to me, "You know how to use a screwdriver and a hammer?" And I said, "Yes, of course I know how to use the basic tools." And she just looked at me like she was flabbergasted, because she had no idea, no clue how to use a screwdriver or a hammer. And then I was thinking, boy, I'm thankful that my father one of his hobbies was carpentry, so I learned a little bit about that. And then that was one of the better things as well about my second husband. He was into carpentry too, and making things. So now I realize how grateful I am for learning some things in that direction. But Julie, I'm trying to explain to her, like, I'm grateful for what I have, and it's not much, but it's mine, and I have a roof over my head. And she can be thankful herself that after all that time she's got a roof over her head. And even if with the neighbors bothering her, she's got to do something else to relieve the pressure of what they're doing to her. And whether, as I said, even when she was on the street, she went for walks and she did things like that. She's still trying to do that, but as I suggested to her, and I can suggest all I want, and she can either take or leave my advice. That's up to her. But maybe her worker can help her get some kind of a small job, whether it's a paying job or a voluntary job. And I tried to say where she was good in certain areas, and certainly with the seniors and that, and ignore her neighbors and just kind of leave the bullies alone, or leave them to their pitiful whining and complaining. But she's much better than them. And it's a difficult thing, because sometimes these bullies come into the social housing. And this is where I'm always looking for supportive housing, because there's many of them that don't know how to do things, and they really need a lot of support. Like people coming in, for an example, I remember one of the social housings, they got together and they built one of those arbors out for one of the community housings that we have in the area. And the kids really enjoyed it because they learned something a little bit about tools. So, there's many different ways that we can actually build people up and help people out so that they can learn. And it's great for the children when you can bring the children together like that and start from being a child, which is the way I started learning how to do things, of course. So I've always been grateful for that. But it's been a really hard situation, and I mean, she's still learning. She's trying to learn how to keep a house, bills, you name it. Suddenly this is a whole new life for her. So I just keep telling her, well, you have to take it one step at a time. You can't do it all in a hurry. I didn't do it all in a hurry, that's for sure. But I got where I am, where I'm happiest today in my life, and I'm giving back to the community, being a volunteer in the community. She can do that too if she wants. There's many different ways that she can look at things and improve herself slowly. But that's up to her, and this is the whole thing. You have to want to do it yourself. No one can push you into doing it. It's what you want to do. So this has been a really rough road for Julie. She's still trying to find her feet, so to speak, on this. And I think this is what I want to talk about for sure. And there was a saying that came out I saw on the internet, and I think this is a really, really good saying. And I like to put this up as well. There's power in your tongue. Stop talking about how tired, broke, and depressed you are. Speak on how grateful you are. And I think that's what we need to do, because even my parents would tell me, my mom, being a baby boomer, would tell me how rough it was during the Depression years, for an example, and during the war. When during the war, they had to have food stamps, or there was food shortages, and food was rationed. And another thing she told me about, they couldn't get material. She was a sewer, but couldn't get material to make dresses, so she can remember actually climbing up the stairs to the old attic, looking through the trunk, and gathering up her grandmother's dresses that were stored in the trunks and remaking them over for herself. So they always found ways to be grateful and thankful for whatever they had on hand. And I think that's one of the things where today we have to be like the Joneses next door. We have to have everything they have, or the most modern phone, or the most modern car, or whatever. And that doesn't necessarily work that way. We should just simply be grateful for what we do have. And we get a lot further in life, for sure. And so I'm just trying to explain to people that they really need to be grateful. And one of the things I saw, of course, over the weekend, the hurricane that just swept up through Florida and right through the states there on the weekend, which was really horrible, devastating when daylight showed the damages. And looking at was supposed to be a lake when it's just totally garbage all in the lake. Just total garbage, and you can't even see the lake. And people's houses in it, the debris from people's lives, literally, just floating on the lake, really makes you grateful for what you have, because they've got to start all over again too. So that makes it difficult for people. And what we're getting today is, as I said, we're all in battle fatigue. And that was an expression that was used from the Second World War, as I explained in a previous video. But the good news about it is that no matter how much we are in battle fatigue, we will come out of this. And as my parents used to say, we came out of the Second World War, the Spanish flu, we came out of the Depression. We did come out of it, and I'm sure we're going to come out of this, but it's not going to be big steps or overnight. So we've just got to stick together and work together, and that's what I keep saying to people. So I don't want to make the video too long, but I just wanted to, and I can brief you on a couple of other things here that I have heard over the last week or so there, that the Mission came on the CTV News again and explained their problem with overcrowding right now is still really bad. Their beds are full. They're having to put mats down in the chapel still. They have to still have people sleeping on chairs in their lobby and stuff like that. So they're overcrowded. I don't know how overcrowded the other shelters are, but it's going to be very bad with the overcrowding again by the sound of it, because people who have been living in tents and that have been coming in back into the interior of the city again, or although even if they were in the city, they were in the outskirts of the city and just living in tents, so scattered all over the city. So we could be in for another rough year. And so, like I said, I'm hoping I get some good news soon, sometime this month as the meetings start up. And another thing that came over the news too was from Calgary, which is very interesting. The housing was going really up really quickly for them, and now they have another problem that there's not enough housing inspectors to inspect the housing as fast as it's going up right now, which is just delaying things by weeks and months in some cases for housing, affordable housing for people as well. So they have another problem and a shortage of housing inspectors, so they're trying to deal with that. And then I heard another thing about another homeless encampment. I'm not sure where it was, but they were dismantling it, and as the workers were dismantling it, they came across a body as well. So I have no idea yet where this winter is going to lead us, but hopefully we get some answers soon where we're at the moment, and how many more people we can at least possibly shelter for the time being. And so I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully in the next, before winter, we'll have some solid answers on some of this. But it looks like we're going to be in for another rough winter, and like I said, it looks like the bulk of the housing they're planning on will be developed by probably 2031. And as I said, the other one, that's that Gladstone Village that I was talking about a couple of videos back, that's going to be the first phase of it, and that's only 336 people. Will be built sometime. Will be ready sometime in 2026. So we all need to be grateful for what we have, and I think when you look at Thanksgiving is coming up very shortly here in Canada, when we're praying and giving thanks, let us all be thankful for what we do have and give thanks for that. And the same thing when the Americans have their Thanksgiving in November, they should be doing the same thing, just being thankful for what we have. And in being thankful for what we have and the little that we have, that we do have, that we can share with other people, please put everyone in your prayers and share whatever you can, and do whatever, every little bit helps. You know, if you can do one good deed a day, if everybody was grateful, could do one good deed a day, we'd be in a much better place right now. So everyone, please take care, have a great day, be safe, and watch your surroundings, and we'll talk again soon. And bye-bye.